Hi, my name is Sanika, and welcome back to the podcast, How Do You Divine, where we explore how we've come to define one word, keeping it simple so we can explore and laugh along the way while we share our experiences. And this episode is a little bit different than our previous because today I'll be taking questions and answering them from our community as we build slow and steady. I've gotten a number of questions from my YouTube page, which is Sanika Nikki, as well as my Instagram and TikTok, as well as LinkedIn. So hopefully we can get all of the questions answered in this episode. And if not, we'll do a part 2. So this is How Do You Divine Q&A. So first question is, what inspired? This is the first question. And I decided not to share who asked the question because I'm not sure if they wanted to share their identity. When some of these questions came in, they came from DMs and in comments. So although some of it is visible on various platforms, I just wanted to, protect my community. I'm a people them, so I'm not going to use their names. I'll just use the questions. So the first question is, what inspired you to start this journey of self-discovery? It seems like you have an interesting sense of self-love. Interesting sense of self-love. What inspired me to start this journey? When you say this journey, I'm going to make the assumption that you're referring to either my podcast or having a digital platform and being a public-facing person. What inspired me to do this is because I just felt like there was a gap in this space. While I love so many content creators that are out there now, I didn't necessarily see a lot of women talking about pursuing their careers in corporate, what would be considered a regular 9-to-5, as well as pursuing their creative aspirations. It appeared to be very linear, which I don't feel like human beings are. And as women, we are not linear. We don't only love one thing. Yes, we are professionals, we are wives, we are mothers, we are sisters, we are friends. But as individuals, we also have our own creative endeavors that we want to pursue. So what initially not inspired me, but I want to say sparked the fire in my belly to be like, girl, just record the content and put it out there, feeling alone and hoping that I wasn't alone, that there were many women like this, because I have the privilege of meeting people almost every day in my professional career, as well as like traveling. And I come across these amazing women. So I just wanted to bring it all together in one place here on my podcast and in my community. Speak about it here in the podcast as well as in some of my previous vlogs. I was born in Jamaica. I came to the United States when I was 3 or 4 years old. And my introduction to New York and the United States wasn't as welcoming as many people would expect it to be. People would call me white. Like, why are you a white girl that talk funny here? Like, children were nice. And I remember I spoke about this story before, but I'll give you the footnotes. I went back home to Jamaica to my grandmother, who is also pretty fair-skinned like me. And to me, fair-skinned, light-skinned, whichever terminology you recognize. I went to her and I was just like so upset. I love my grandmothers. I was very close to. God rest their soul. They're no longer with us. Went back home to Jamaica and I was like ready to tell mama what these ignorant people here in New York was calling me. And I'll never forget that feeling and what she said to me, straight off the plane. Came to her house and told her what happened, knowing that she was going to cuss them off and tell me to tell them to move up and quit. She started to smile. She started to laugh. And young me was so confused. And at this age, I was probably 7, 8 years old. And I was just so confused. Like, why is this lady smiling when I'm telling you that these people hurting me and hurting my feelings because I'm light skinned and I talk different and I have ashy brown hair? And she laughed and she smiled and she said, Sanika, feel for them now. She said, have empathy for them, essentially she was saying, because little do they not know. She was just saying how, and she just continued to talk to me about, you should pity them because they are ignorant. They do not know what the variation of a Black woman could look like. They do not know the depths of the island called Jamaica. All they know is Rastaman and marijuana and stuff like that. So instead of you being upset, you should empathize and pity them because little do they know. And I feel like that was my first time of understanding what ignorance was and how to rise above it and understand that knowledge is power. And also who you are and who I was not predicated on the way they saw me. and their small understanding of what a Black girl could look like, what a Jamaican kid could be. And so much about that conversation with her changed my life and changed who I am. So long-winded answer, but that's why my journey to self-love started very early. So I'm fortunate. Next question. What do you hope to achieve with your new show? And why do you think it's important for Black culture, music, and political rights to be highlighted in this way? This is a good question because this actually is referring to a show that I'm working on now that's coming out. I was going to say later this year, but most likely in 2025. So I'll start by, what do I hope to achieve? I hope to achieve, keep saying community, but I hope to achieve fun. I think a lot of information I know I consume that's out there is so real, especially when it comes to the political landscape, because it is serious and it is so real. But we also need to balance that out with some fun and also make it lighthearted, and also ensure that the entryway to be a part of these like political conversations, as well as like these conversations about our culture and how we are moving, is simple enough that everyone has access to be a part of it, while also being substantial enough not to be filled with ignorance and just lighthearted conversation. So that's what I hope to inspire in my new show coming next year. But yeah, and just, again, building a community of people that just want to have a good time. And have a good time with good intentions and learn and grow alongside each other, because I'm all about growth. So that's what I hope to achieve. Next question. How has your career in marketing communications, particularly in technology industry, shaped the way you approach storytelling and building a brand? This is a lovely question. So I'm going to read it again because I just lit up reading this question. How has your career in marketing communications, particularly in the technology industry, shape the way you approach storytelling and building a brand? So I should first start by, I have been in marketing communications and technology for the last 15 to 18 years. Yikes, dated myself. But yeah, I have existed in this industry for a very long time. And my professional career, I think, definitely helps me tell a great story, because it's important to me not only to appeal to our human nature and just, keep it real and speak to you one-on-one. But I want you to understand the importance of the discussion, the things that you can take from each podcast and every piece of content that I put out, and what you can implement in your own life. So I will say that my career has helped me be a better storyteller by being clear about my entry points, highlighting the experience as I tell my stories, and then ensuring that I conclude every interaction with some form of takeaway. So that's how my career has helped me with storytelling. I would say my career is definitely part of my brand because I enjoy what I do, right? I think often we hear about people that hate their jobs. I do not hate my job. I do not hate the organization I work for. I see the value in the product we offer, as well as my role in the company. And I learn so much by engaging with different brands. But this is not a resume. I think my career is part of my story. Not a large part, but a part of my story. So how it helps me is iron sharpens iron. It keeps my intellect engaged. I like to learn. I like to grow. So my job keeps me mentally sharp, while my creativity keeps my heart soft. Next question. Why do you believe the topics you explore in your workshops are essential for young people? Good question. I love these questions because it's clear that the people asking these questions are following my overall journey. I offer workshops for young professionals to help them explore the journey of identifying your purpose. In these workshops, we dive into fear, stepping out of your comfort zone. And this is an actual workshop. This is not a conference. This is not a motivational coach speech. All of these workshops come with your pen, your paper, your laptop, because I'm giving you action items on how to proceed and how to move forward into identifying your purpose in life and what is your next best step. So why do I believe these topics are important? I think they are important because not every community has the access to information as we'd like to think. Right now of the days of social media with the TikToks of the world, we do have access to content, but not all content is informative. Not all content is productive. Not everything you consume on your phone is actually progressing you in life towards the goals that you have set. A lot of it is just leisure and a way for you to numb your mind and numb your feelings, which is also okay. But in everything needs to be moderation. And we will never become who we want to be in this world by constantly scrolling, constantly taking in soft, fluffy content. So that is why I offer workshops, because the topics that I offer in my workshops are tangible, deliverable frameworks, so that these young men and women out there in the world understand that everything that has come across their mind and in their heart is capable of being achieved. So I picked topics based on gaps that I experienced in my community as a young woman from the inner city in Brooklyn, and everything I've learned since being in my career. That's how I picked topics for the workshop. Next question. This is a good one. How do you balance your roles as a wife, mom, host, entrepreneur, tech professional while staying true to your purpose? Good question. Well, I actually believe balance is a joke. I talk about it all the time. I actually have a workshop called Balance is a Joke. I don't focus on balance. I focus on being present. I am very diligent about managing my time. Similar to this podcast. It is currently 7:15 in the morning, and my daughter just got on the bus, and my actual workday has not begun yet. But when it does, I have already completed this podcast. So I say all that to say that I don't necessarily pursue my life. I don't see my life in a need for balance. I see it as a need to always be mindful of my time. Time management is absolutely critical for any adult. That is not just because I'm an entrepreneur, mother, and wife. Every adult should be serious about time management. But anyway, before I get on the random, answer the question, Sanika. How do I do it? I do it by having everything on my calendar. If it is not on my calendar, it's not really happening and I'm not really going. And I just follow life by my calendar. So like there are staples in my weeks, like every Saturday morning is my girls' days. Saturdays are for my daughters. So if you see me out and about on a Saturday, know that that was a sacrifice and I really needed to be there, because Saturdays are for my daughters, Sundays for the Lord and me to relax. But really Saturdays are for my daughters, and I don't balance anything. I'm just present in the current space of where I need to be. So if right now I am recording podcasts, this is where I am present. I am focused. This is what I'm focused on. And when it's time to be a mom, I am absolutely present there and making memories and having a good time. Same when Omar and I are having a good time, I am present. So I don't necessarily look at life as a balance. I just try to be as present as possible and remember to take time for myself. That's one thing I don't think I talked about enough. Spending you time just by yourself, major key. But that's how I balance everything. I put one foot in front of the other. Some weeks are better than others. Next question. If you could accomplish one major goal by the end of the year, what would it be and why? This is actually a good question because I'm recording this podcast in October, and the last quarter of the year, I feel like everyone's like, oh my God, we're running out of time. What can I do? What can I do? What can I get done? And I agree, because I set quarterly goals for myself, for my household, for my daughters every year since they were in elementary school, just as a way to progress and, make their goals and their dreams real for them. We set time, we set goals for every dream, and we make sure they happen. So if I could accomplish one major goal before the end of the year, it would be to grow my community more. I don't necessarily think everything is a numbers game, but as someone who works in technology and analytics, I do understand the importance of numbers. So for me, for the rest of the year, I am just focused on building my community as much as possible, creating more content. So if I can accomplish one major goal, I would say to have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, 1,000 Instagram, just grow my community in general. And I don't want just numbers. So that's why it's hard for me to put numbers to the community. I want the people who want to be in this community to be in this community. Numbers are hollow. Humans are so deep. I want good humans to be a part of the community and have a good time. So that would be the major goal. If by the end of the year I achieve, I'd love it. Regardless of the number, just grow it bigger and bigger. Next question. How can your listeners and community best support your mission and be part of your journey? I love this question. And I actually know who this is from. This is a sweet question. How my community can help me is by sharing right now, right? I have so many different initiatives coming up next year. And right now, the best way for you to support me, support my endeavors, and support this initiative is by sharing my content on all your social media platforms, liking it, leaving me a review. I love recording these podcasts, and I often forget that wherever you listen to this podcast, either in Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to this, please leave me a review. 5 stars would be preferred, and leave me a review. Subscribe to all of my channels on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook page. Support. Right now, the best way to support me is by continuing to share content and telling somebody that tells somebody. I know this cool girl over there making a nice community or whatever. Follow her. Next question. This is a funny question. You are always put together. Nails did, hair did, always tip top at the early in the morning. How do you do it? Do you wake up at 3 a.m.? I do not wake up at 3 a.m. I am an early riser. I typically wake up around 5:30, the latest 6 a.m. I very early on learned that if I wanted to take care of myself, I needed to prioritize time. So I had my oldest daughter not very young. I was 22, about to be 23, and in school, right? So when I had my daughter, it became very clear again that time was important, right? Being a young woman, going to school and things like that. But what I also knew about myself is that I like to take care of myself. Like I actually like to do my hair, and I'm not a DIY person. I'm going to the nail salon. I'm going to the nail salon. I will try to do my hair myself. Me and my little sister, we've definitely gotten the hair down by ourselves. But I'm going to the nail salon. I'm getting my eyebrows done. I'm going to get the services. But in terms of day-to-day life, I learned when my children were really young, the only way I was going to be able to pour into myself and take care of myself every day without feeling down and depressed. And every mom could attest to this. There are seasons where you just feel like a tool, like a worker, and you just feel very hollow internally. And I've definitely had those seasons in my life with both of my daughters. And something that I learned in that dark space is that I needed to prioritize myself at the top of the morning. And then the way the day flow, whatever happened that day will happen that day, but I would feel okay because I gave myself some tender love and care earlier on in the day so that at least I started the day with a win, right? So thank you. I appreciate the compliment of feeling like I'm always put together. It's 2 things. Waking up super early to start my day slowly by myself before everyone wakes up. Getting myself together. Like even during the pandemic, I got fully dressed like I was leaving the house. It was a lot of excessive laundry for no reason, but me doing my hair and putting on clothes and like, this is the girliest part of me. I truly enjoy it. It's the way I give myself love. So I do that. That's my first tip. My second tip is make the appointment and do the things because you will never regret getting your eyebrows done, getting your nails done for yourself. So there's my tip. And that's how I do it. I'm an early riser and it's a lot of preparation actually as well. Every day, I never pick out my outfits on the day I'm wearing it. Another fun fact about me. I find it very therapeutic to clean and organize my closet. And when I do so, I create outfits. Well, at all times, there's typically 4 or 5 outfits in my closet ready to go. Casual, dress up, and just run into the supermarket, which is also like cute casual. They're just always ready and in my closet because there are moments when I am overwhelmed or down where I just put on some music and I rip my closet apart and I put it all back together and create outfits with pieces that I haven't worn before. So shopping my closet has always been a thing. I like me a new cute piece every now and then, but if I can shop my closet, I will. So that's how I look put together because this outfit was picked 2 weeks ago. And so I don't make daily decisions about my clothes. Just about hair and makeup and stuff. Next question. This is a sweet one. What excites you most about the future of your podcast and your community building initiatives? What excites me the most? Just the fact that it's limitless, that it's going to grow and expand, and I have so many great ideas, and that I'm just on the ground floor. That's what excites me, is that I'm on the ground floor. 5 years from now, I'll look back at this and be like, whoo, we wasn't even touching it yet. And 10 years from now, the same. And also what really excites me is that my daughters are old enough to see me actively pursue these endeavors and my creativity and be an entrepreneur while also being a professional, while also showing up as their mom, and realizing that it's not an easy thing. And not because I want to push them into it, but I also want them to understand that if you desire something, let's make a plan and let's go for it. Because that there is no limits to what you're capable of, and never to limit yourself by just what you're capable of doing today, because you can most likely triple that capability tomorrow. So what excites me the most is the fact that I am just on the ground floor, and it's going to be phenomenal over time. And also that my daughters are old enough to be a part of this with me and learn alongside with me. I really feel like I'm building legacy. It's lovely. That's what excites me the most. And I feel like we've recorded for a long time. So make this a 2-parter, because I don't like to have long podcasts. I'm all about a sweet treat. So we'll do this last question and we'll continue this on another podcast. Maybe this will be a break in between series, the community Q&A. So the last question, let me pick a great question for the last question. That's so funny that the last question, one of the questions, I'm just reading through all the questions. One of them is, what's the legacy you hope to leave for your daughters through your work and personal growth? I think that's so interesting because a previous question was similar. But yeah, I think I'll leave it there. So the question is, what's the legacy you hope to leave your daughters through your work and personal growth? The legacy I hope to leave is that vulnerability is a strength, that your beauty stems from who you are, your character, your integrity, and not what you look like. And also that you are capable today to do anything your mind and heart desires. Absolutely anything at any point in your life. I never want my daughters to feel like there is a limit to their success or their happiness. So the legacy I hope that my work leaves my daughters is a sense of confidence and knowing that God got you first and foremost. You are aligned in His purpose, and that you are capable of anything, and not in the way that you hear like, you can do anything, babe. No, you can do, you desire what you truly desire, because the way you feel emotionally and the work that you put in and who you are as a human being in this world, the way you treat people, the way you show up for the people you love, that is the foundation that will ensure that your heart's desire will always be met. So I hope my legacy for my daughters is that authenticity and vulnerability will always be your strengths. And thank you so much for listening. I think that's a good part to wrap up this Q&A. Thank you so much for listening. How do you divine Q&A? For this week's Q&A, I want the vibe of the week to be someone that's just like consistently blowing my mind. So I hate that I can't give these ladies their shine, but because the both of them is really blowing my mind right now, it's going to have to be 2 artists, Lady London and Doshi. Listen, I don't know if you're a hip hop fan, a female hip hop fan. Like for me, Little Kim and Eve has always been top tier, never number 2. Like, you know what I mean? Like I could go on, like Queen Latifah, MC Lyte. Like again, I told you guys, I live and breathe music. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Anyway, the thing I love about Lady London, right? I hate that I'm putting them both together on one vibe of the week because I don't want it to be a comparison, because they're both great. This is not a comparison at all. They're not competing. They're not comparing. Nothing. What I really want to encourage you to do is listen to 2 songs. And because these 2 songs aren't really serious, they're not deep, but they it's about the shit. Give you the shits. Like, it's with the bullshit. And sometimes in life, like everything has serious moments, but you need some songs to remind you, one, you that girl. You her. Never number two. Always number one. You are, right? Even with your pimple patch and your hair reverting back to curly. Yeah, still her. You're her. She's me. Me is she. Right? So I want to give you these two songs to remind yourself to, like, you ever feeling away? You just throw these two songs on, right? Lady London, yeah. That's a collab song, but it gives 90s vibes. It just does. I don't know why. I keep trying to put my finger on it. It reminds me of The Boy Is Mine, but if like Little Kim and Foxy did it. Yes. And like, that's the vibe this song gives me. Okay. It's called Yeah with Drizzy, Dreezy. Go listen to that. Yeah. It's on the Soul album, SOUL album. It just gives me 90s vibes. I don't know. It makes me, I want a quart of water and a bag of chips. Yes, that's what I want. That's what it reminds me of. And the next song is Doechii. I hate that I'm giving you guys two songs on one episode, but it's a Q&A, so I can do that. And these are just the two songs that are going crazy in my car right now. Going crazy. Doechii, I don't know where she came from, but welcome. And where have you been? Like, I feel like she's a new artist to me. She has come across my playlist, I want to say in the last month, and I've been racking it up. Just racking it up. She has a song called Nissan Altima. And I don't know. It's so funny that it's called Nissan Altima because if you were grown up, if you were raised in the city of New York City, Nissan Altimas is like your first, I'm doing, I got movement. It was a Nissan Altima or a Honda. If you have one or two of those cars, you're making it, in life. That's what's happening. Doechii, Doechii. Welcome. Like, lyrically, amazing. Songplay, amazing. Go listen to Nissan Altima. You're welcome. So those are the two bangers that are killing me for the vibe of this week. So maybe that's a little thing we'll do now. On Q&As, you'll get two vibes. It'll always be I'm that bitch record. I'm that record. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Tanika, and how do you divine? Q&A.